Hi guys, welcome to WandrinDutch. Today we're going to be covering the Xbox next generation thoughts. Now first and foremost, both platforms have got two very different outlooks and very different paths in the next generation. Today we'll be discussing Xboxes. With the launch of Xbox Series X coming this holiday 2020, we'll be looking to see what it is that Xbox are doing that differentiates themselves from the competition. Now primarily, the first thing, Xbox are consistently trying to go for the power advantage, looking to ensure that box that they produce is the most powerful box on the market when it comes to console gaming. Now they've put a lot of effort into rekindling that after the lackluster start to 2013. Now primarily what you'll find is that the hardware and the architecture that has went into the new Xbox Series X is far in advance of what it was back in 2013. The slow rekindling of the power advantage when Xbox One X was unveiled but a few years ago. Xbox have continued to innovate in several forms. On top of hardware, they're going into a service route. Now this is where they have the advantage on cost going into next generation, bringing as many users as possible into the ecosystem of Xbox as they possibly can. They're not looking at Xbox Series X as primarily the only place to play. They've invested time and money into the Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, the rumoured and now revealed Xbox Series S, thanks to a few leaks of the controller which was shown off only recently. We know on top of that they have xCloud and also Windows platform. Xbox are going down the multiple platform route to ensure that gamers, no matter what they play on, whether it be mobile, tablet, console or PC, can pick up and play any Xbox title day one via Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate comes with xCloud, so every user with Xbox can play the game that they choose that is within Game Pass at any moment. Continuing off from where they left off with cloud saves, and seamlessly jump into a PC to play exactly the same game, exactly the same point where they left off, or back onto console and doing the same. Xbox's route into next generation has primarily been to ensure that as many users as possible can jump in, providing variety across the board, whether that be puzzle games, family games, adventure games, survival games, first person shooters, racing games, horror games, thrillers, action RPGs, open world games, psychological games, platformers, and generic RPGs. No matter what you're looking for, they're aiming to provide that game to you. What Xbox need to do going into the next generation is not only provide people with a reason to invest in just the Xbox Series X, commitment to Game Pass and the Xbox ecosystem. Xbox restructured near the end of this generation from being a singular platform to being the entire gaming division for Microsoft. They want to differentiate themselves. Instead of being put a platform with a singular box to play their games on, to be able to play their software wherever you want to play their software. Of course, that limits only playing on software that they want you to play on. Specifically, Android devices, laptops, desktops, phones, tablets, and Xbox consoles. For the beginning of the next generation, going from Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X, giving choice back to the player. Now, many people seem to see this as a negative. Not a negative providing choice to the player, but a negative in the sense of, why would I need to invest in an Xbox Series X? What need would there be for me to invest in the next generation? Microsoft's game plan is not to do that. They want to give you the option. If you wish to play their games on Series X, you can do so. At the beginning of the generation, if you want to play some of their games on Xbox One X, you can do so. If you want to play all of their games on release, first party primarily, you'll be able to do so on xCloud, on multiple handheld devices, soon to be on PC, on TVs, or then natively, again, be able to play on PC or laptop, as well as hardware consoles. Both platforms have invested heavily also into technology going forward to ensure that worlds are streamed seamlessly. There is no load times, or very limited load times. Game worlds are far denser, more detailed, allowing you to switch between games at the blink of an eye. Save states simultaneously held so that you can jump between games whilst keeping them all open and automatically resume from where you left off, providing ultra-fast SSD technologies, decompression software and throughput software, sampler feedback streaming. All of these combine to ensure that the games that you play going into next generation will be the best that they can be on the hardware that is built within Xbox Series X. The games will always be best played native hardware, the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. Both will have implemented ray tracing technology, having separate ray tracing cores available to ensure that GPU performance has not been hampered or held back by the GPU cores. Available within the Xbox Series X or S, so that the graphical power has not been affected, and ensuring that the ray tracing, which is a costly measure for all games, can be implemented without affecting other aspects of the visual fidelity. Xbox, unlike their competitors, have chose very minimal upgrades when it comes to the controller for next generation. The controller simply slightly redefines the shape of the ever popular Xbox One controller that was slightly refined for the Xbox One S and X, with an added share button, the textured triggers and bumpers that were found on the Elite Series 2, low latency built into the new controllers, USB-C connectivity, but retaining the ability to change out from AA batteries or rechargeable batteries should you wish to do so. Again, giving more option to the player. Going forward, Microsoft and Xbox have ensured that all peripherals on both Xbox One, Xbox One X, going over to Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X work without fault on any game that you wish to play going forward. Meaning on day one, when you purchase the Xbox Series X or Series S, you will not need to buy an additional controller to play side by side or with family members on your new console. All previous controllers will work with all games, whether that be last generation games or next generation games. Another additional benefit that Xbox are yet to truly show off is the backward compatibility enhancements. Xbox have advised and told us that all of the previous generation games will automatically get enhancements, whether that be frame rate, resolution, implementation of auto HDR for games that have never had HDR before, in some cases doubling of frame rate from 30 frames to 60 frames, or 60 frames to 120 frames for select titles. Bumps in resolution beyond what was originally planned upon release of the games many years ago, whether that be on 360, original Xbox One, original Xbox, Xbox One X. All titles will automatically get enhancements without the developers needing to do so, meaning your games have never looked better, whether that be next generation or all of your old previous generation titles. All of your previous generation titles that were in the backwards compatibility program from 360 and Xbox OG will work. All Xbox One and Xbox One X titles will also work day one on the Xbox Series S and X. You will not lose any of those games, meaning you start day one with thousands of games in your back catalogue available to play, as well as, thanks to Game Pass Ultimate, all release titles for the Xbox Series S and Series X upon release of the next generation console. Microsoft's plan going into the next generation is to provide a service platform on top of quality content in which they've invested millions and millions of dollars, primarily to ensure choice for the player, where they want to play, what they want to play, how they want to play it, and when they want to play. No matter what you're looking for, Xbox are providing what it is that you want. The final bit of speculation going into next generation, of course, is the price. At this point in time, we don't know what the price is going to be. I'm not one for rumours, but we can safely say that next generation, both consoles will be 500 or less British pounds. For the US, that would be $550 or less. Both console manufacturers want to provide you with options. Xbox want to provide you with a gateway to all of your games day one on Xbox Series S and Series X for as low a cost as possible to jump into the next generation. I hope you have enjoyed the video today. Please like, subscribe and tune in every Wednesday for the Midweek Mix-Up podcast with your host, myself, WandrinDutch, and panel members Forza Irwin, Patcher070 and Sean Belong. Again, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you like, subscribe and leave feedback, it'd be much appreciated. Hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.